Welcome to the Ultimate Success TV. You are going to discover the ultimate success system that helps you live the life you love and get anything you want. I'm Pitima Tongme, the celebrity authority on peak performance and the award-winning author of Unstoppable You. Please welcome Space Shuttle Commander Rick Searfoss.
Unstoppable You helps ordinary people achieve extraordinary success.
Hi, I'm Pitima Tongme, the author of Unstoppable You. I'm here with Rick Searfoss. He's the astronaut who's been to space on 3 missions. Thank you for joining us, Rick.
No, it's a pleasure. Glad to be here.
Rick is one of less than 100 of people who have ever commanded a space mission. He has been into space not once, not twice, but 3 times. He's piloted the Space Shuttle twice, both the Space Shuttle Columbia and the Space Shuttle Atlantis. He then commanded the Space Shuttle on his 3rd mission. When did you dream about becoming an astronaut?
Yeah, I wanted to be an astronaut ever since I was a little kid. I grew up in the days of Gemini and Apollo, followed all the missions, just thought it was the greatest thing ever, and I set my sails on that and went for it, and fortunately had the chance to do it.
How did you prepare to become an astronaut?
I think a huge part for success is to figure out what it takes to get to your ultimate goal, and then work hard, obviously, to get there. So at an early age, I determined that all of those early astronauts had been engineers by training, and then had been military pilots, and then test pilots. So I decided that's what I wanted to do, and worked out for me.
What was the most important action that you took to become an astronaut?
Keeping an intensity and focus on it, and recognizing that may be very, very difficult, but you just keep at it, and you keep at it. You never give up.
Okay, that's great, because many people, when they want to do something and then they think, oh, it's not successful, so let's stop.
Yes,
but
they give up too early.
Yeah, the key is to keep going.
Right, very much
Okay, that's great. During your selection process, astronaut selection process, do you have any doubt that you were not good enough for them, or they're not going to pick you?
Oh, sure. But I went into it knowing that very few people get selected. Also knowing that I'd done the very best I could, and I'd done well in my flying and school and everything. So I thought the preparation was there. But I recognized that if my dream did not happen, I would just have to come up with another dream. I was realistic about it, and I just gave as much to it as I could, and had confidence, and it ended up working out for me.
So how did you overcome the doubt that you were not good enough?
Well, it was really a question of preparation, I would call it. Anything I did that would help me become an astronaut, I just worked as hard as I could at and prepared. So I was satisfied that even if I was not selected, I had done the very best I could. And you can't ask any more from someone than they do the very best they can.
Tell us about your experience during your first launch.
My first launch. So as a rookie on the flight, I was a pilot on the shuttle, so I was in the right front seat. My main concern were all of the technical things, like the engines and the electrical systems and the hydraulics, because they were all my responsibility, and there were I knew from training there were so many possible emergencies that could happen. I'd have to be ready for them. So very, very focused. Went into launch morning, at the same time excited about the adventure, but also very focused, knowing I had a job to do, and I had to just concentrate on it one step at a time, all the way through launch and until we got up on orbit. The main thing is, once you come off the launch pad, if an emergency happens, you have to be able to respond to it very quickly. So you have to stay on top of things all the way through.
What about during the launch, when the engine starts, and then you were shaking, and then the sound, and then the lights?
Well, those are things that could be distractions. Just like in our life, we have distractions from our goals. But all of the training and the preparation allows you to stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish, so you're able to work past it.
Okay, that's great, because every astronaut I talk to, when they talk about doing their launch, they were nervous. They were prepared, but they were nervous.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, you'd be crazy not to be nervous doing something like that. But with all of the training and preparation, you're able to, we call it compartmentalizing. You put those nervous thoughts in the back of your mind so you stay focused on your job.
How do you put your nervous thought to the back?
Well, it's a product of all the training and preparation. In other words, you've been through all the practice in the simulators so much that you're able to concentrate and focus on that, and then the more you stay focused on that, the more any fears or nervousness moves to the back of the mind.
When you are nervous, don't think about the thing that makes you feel nervous. You can think only one thought at the same time. So when you feel nervous, replace the thought that makes you feel nervous with a positive thought that you can work on to move yourself forward. Can you tell us about the one specific challenge that you have to overcome?
My last flight as commander, we had 175 rats and mice on board for the experiments. It was a medical research flight.
Oh, okay.
We began to have problems with the animals, and some of them began to die just from the environment and the situation, more than was expected. But these were very important animals for the payloads and so forth. So that became a crew challenge, and I was first made aware of it mid-flight, when our veterinarian astronaut came to me, Rick Linehan, and said, "Rick, we've got these problems." He outlined all the problems. I said, "Well, do you see any solution?" Speaking as a veterinarian professional. So we basically set up a veterinary intensive care unit for these young rats and mice, and we had 2 or 3 nights where our payload crew basically stayed up all night nursing and taking care of these little animals. And of course, they flew young rats, so they grow quite quickly, and when we got them through a few days, they'd gotten stronger and better. And we actually, we lost some of the animals, but we were able to recover sufficient to get virtually all the science, and so it didn't negatively affect the mission. But that was a real challenge for a couple of days. My veterinarian, Rick, was very, very, very worried and concerned, and I said, "Well, we'll work through this. You guys on the payload team will have my full support. I'll take care of talking to the ground about the problems, and we'll work through it." And we did, and it came out all right. It was a great example of NASA, because with the support on the ground, replanning things and coming up with how we were going to take care of these animals in this weightless environment when some unexpected things started happening. So, yeah, it's not something, as a pilot, not something I ever expected to do in my career, but be involved with that. But I was the leader on the mission, and it was my responsibility, again, to look at the big picture and, help make the conditions possible so the specialists could take care of the animals and save the payload.
If you want to be unstoppable, read this book, Unstoppable You.
Come back for the ultimate success interview with astronaut Rick Searfoss. Get Unstoppable You book now at successresult.com.